Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestle News 365. Hope everyone is doing well. Now, before we get started with the video, don't forget to subscribe by clicking the bottom right hand corner. So we're going to talk a little bit about Rey Mysterio here. And Rey Mysterio potentially a retirement ceremony. What is going on with Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins right now? Well, if you recall back a couple of weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins attacked Rey Mysterio. He threw him into the steel steps at ringside, gouged almost his eye out using the steel steps. There was blood. They were hyping up on commentary. Is Rey Mysterio ever going to wrestle again? Is he ever going to be in the WWE again? They said that he was at home resting and recuperating and that he was injured indefinitely. So they've been playing that up on TV the last few weeks. Seth Rollins has even been carrying sometimes Rey Mysterio's mask or holding his mask during a Seth Rollins Monday Night Messiah promo. And then this week, seemingly out of nowhere, it was announced on Raw that Rey Mysterio would have a, quote, retirement ceremony, end quote, on Raw next week. And Tom Phillips, he said this so somberly. And he was caught off guard and he was very serious. You know, he's hyping up the next match. He's coming up next on Raw, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly he goes, and next week on Raw, it's Rey Mysterio's retirement ceremony. Very, very somber. Like that. And he tried to make it serious. Now, if you're a seasoned professional wrestling fan or a seasoned WWE fan, you know straight away, everyone was like, well, this is an absolute load of rubbish. Of course, Rey Mysterio is not retiring. And then these suspicions were confirmed several hours later when it was announced that Seth Rollins himself, the Monday Night Messiah, will be hosting the retirement ceremony this coming Monday on Raw. So it's an angle. Everyone knows, oh, okay, it's an angle. But the Sun newspaper over here in the UK, and you just love British journalism, don't you? They went with the headline, Rey Mysterio retires. I mean, obviously just not really getting the concept of pro wrestling at all, that it's a work and any of that stuff. No, he's definitely retiring. Rey Mysterio's retiring, according to the Sun. I mean, just sometimes when WWE craves and professional wrestling craves mainstream, news coverage. But the problem is every time they cover it, they get it wrong. And it's awkward and it's wrong. It's bad. Either way, it's obviously an angle. Now, the thing that people are questioning about Rey Mysterio retiring from WWE is that we know that Mysterio's contract is indeed up soon. So there is a debate, there is a question as to if Rey Mysterio is going to sign or re-sign, in this case, with WWE. It's not a case of he needs the work and he needs the job at WWE. He can work anywhere he wants. He will get work elsewhere, that's without a doubt, if he were to leave WWE. He even worked the first All-In pay-per-view when it was a Ring of Honor / New Japan style event with the Bucks, with Cody, with Kenny Omega, etc., etc. He could work in New Japan. He's obviously a god in Mexico. I suppose the current question is, in the current climate of everything that's going on at the moment, do you really want to risk all of that? And another factor is, look, Dominik Mysterio, whatever you want to call him, Eddie Guerrero's son, is becoming a wrestler, and he's made a few appearances for WWE, not in any match, but he's taken bumps, especially from Brock Lesnar. I don't believe at this time of writing, I don't think he's under a WWE contract, Dominik. I don't think he's signed to a developmental deal. But there's a high chance that eventually, once he has the foundation training done outside of the ring, which he's currently doing at the moment, he'll get signed by the WWE and go to the Performance Center. So in terms of WWE negotiating with Rey Mysterio, they kind of have him over a barrel, if you think about it, because it's kind of like, well, if you don't re-sign, we're not signing your son. And as a father, you want to have your son follow his dreams, and you want to give your son every opportunity and the best opportunity to succeed that you can. So WWE kind of has Mysterio by the mask there a little bit. So factoring that in and factoring in this stage in his career, ultimately, I think Rey Mysterio will re-sign with WWE. I don't think he'll make as many appearances once live events return. But look, let's be honest. We don't know when live events are going to return. We don't know when they return, how frequently they're going to be. Vince McMahon has said might not be in the live event business that much anymore. So that whole landscape is changing anyway. You look at AEW, They don't run live events. They run TV tapings and that's it. And they make good enough money just doing that. And the major money in professional wrestling nowadays is television rights. It's not by live events or gate receipts or anything like that. So ultimately, I think he'll resign with WWE. He sells a ton of merchandise for them, like a ton. When you think of the masks and you think how over he is with children and just all aspects of all demographics of the audience that WWE loves to cater to. And look, after all these years, he's still WWE's biggest Latino/Hispanic draw and star. And how many years have WWE been trying to replace him as this Hispanic and Latino star? They've tried it so many times, but they've never achieved it. Names that come to mind: Alberto Del Rio, Sin Cara, now Humberto Carrillo experiment that's still ongoing. The list goes on and on. But the experiments name that they've never worked. And he's still just as valuable today as he has ever been to WWE from that point of view. So I think likely we're probably going to get like a phony retirement angle on Raw when it comes to this retirement ceremony. I'm thinking Mark Henry's retirement angle from 2013. I think an angle that, actually lends more specifically to this is the Shawn Michaels retirement angle from 2008. Back then, he was in the middle of his legendary feud with Chris Jericho. If you've never seen the promos, that feud, the matches, go back and watch them. It was all over the summer of 2008. Fantastic, fantastic feud. At this one point in the feud, Chris Jericho had injured, quotation marks, Shawn Michaels' eye. And Shawn Michaels, we know, has a wandering eye from a previous injury. I think it was actually from Kane in like 2003, 2004. But Shawn Michaels has this wandering eye. Chris Jericho, kayfabe, injured it in the storyline. Michaels was gone from TV for a while. He comes back at SummerSlam and he says, look, this injury, it's got the best of me. And unfortunately, I don't want to, but I need to retire. I need to think of my family. I need to think of my wife. He was out with his wife at the time. Chris Jericho's not having any of this. He comes out, puts down Shawn Michaels verbally, gets into a confrontation with him, goes to punch Shawn Michaels. Michaels ducks, and then Jericho legitimately punched HBK's wife straight in the face, which then put a ton more heat onto the feud. It was already the best thing on the show anyway, but in terms of the angle going forward, there was so much more heat on it. And then we get to the unsanctioned match between them at Unforgiven the following month. And that was just, great angle. So Monday, I think we could be seeing a similar sort of situation with Rey Mysterio. It could just be, Seth Rollins just deciding, look, we haven't heard from Rey Mysterio. I'm going to announce the retirement on Rey's behalf. He obviously can't come back, and it's a good thing. Which then brings out a Rey Mysterio. Oh, you shouldn't be here. You're retired. He attacks Rollins. It sets up the future Seth Rollins-Rey Mysterio match that I think we're going to get at Backlash anyway. Or maybe it's a setup by Rey. Rey's reached out and said, look, I'm going to retire. I want you to be the hosting, master of ceremonies, whatever you want to call it. And then Rey Mysterio attacks Seth Rollins that way. I don't think even as a heel, Seth Rollins should be that stupid. You'd like to hope not, right? Or perhaps it's got almost like nothing to do with Rey Mysterio even being there in person. Perhaps it's just Seth Rollins doing a promo, doing a sermon, as he would call it. It's just as a ceremony as is. He then says, Rey Mysterio, I don't think you should retire. Come back out of retirement at Backlash. And we sort of get an Undertaker WrestleMania 31 build. During that feud with Bray Wyatt, it was just Bray Wyatt cutting the promos every week on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. We didn't actually see The Undertaker himself until WrestleMania 31. Now, they've done that quite a few times over the years, WWE. Perhaps it's that sort of thing. Perhaps it's Seth Rollins calling out Rey Mysterio for one more match at Backlash, and then finally at Backlash, Rey Mysterio appears, faces Seth Rollins, and then you can go from there about the result. There's so many ways to do this. Or you have Seth Rollins doing the ceremony. He's then interrupted, we mentioned him earlier, by Dominik Mysterio, Rey Mysterio's son. Rollins says, your dad's retired, but your future's coming up ahead of you. Perhaps you want to be a disciple with my other followers, with Austin Theory, with Murphy. Come and be my disciple. He tries to convert Dominik Mysterio to under the guidance of the Monday Night Messiah. Perhaps he tries to do that. Dominik refuses, and they just beat the holy hell out of Dominik, and then that brings back out Rey Mysterio from this retirement, from this self-imposed retirement, against doctor's orders for a match at Backlash to get some redemption for his son, or you even have a match with Dominik versus Seth Rollins on Raw. I think about the way that Cody Rhodes debuted on Monday Night Raw as part of the Randy Orton-Dusty Rhodes feud in 2007. So there's many different ways that this could go with this one. I think ultimately, look, Rey Mysterio isn't retiring. He isn't going to retire anytime soon. His contract is expiring soon. He may have already signed an extension to that. We don't really know. But look, Rey Mysterio is going to stay around for a long period of time in professional wrestling, whether it's with WWE. I think so. Ultimately, it makes most sense financially and in terms of what he needs to do for his son's future. I think, like I said, I think WWE kind of have him over the barrel there. But in terms of this angle on Monday, hopefully they pull it off right. If they pull this off correctly, it can be a really fun angle. Now, I don't think this is going to get everyone like the Mark Henry one did. I think a lot of people at the time really thought that Mark Henry was going to retire when he came out, and when he was doing that speech. That's what made it so great, is we thought legitimately Mark Henry's finished. We heard about him being banged up and he'd been on the roster for a while. So people believed it. People believed it. It was out of character for him to cut a babyface promo. He was a monster heel at the time. So people believed it and they fell for it. Whereas with this segment, look, people know Rey Mysterio isn't going to retire. People know he's not injured. The only thing that could hang over people's head is we know that his contract is expiring soon. They could do a bit of a Jim Ross and say, oh, he's retiring from the WWE, when in actuality the contract's expiring or he's fired. That's what happened with Jim Ross. I'm not saying that Rey Mysterio is going to be fired or anything like that. So, like I said, they can pull this off. There's many different ways to do it. There's many different ways to do it right, and there's a couple of different ways to do it wrong. So fingers crossed they do it the right way. I'm interested to see how it plays out, but it looks like we're getting a Seth Rollins-Rey Mysterio match coming up soon, probably at Backlash. I can't recall off the top of my head, have they worked like a single? I know a singles program, but how many singles matches have they worked? I can't think off the top of my head that many. I'm sure they must have at some point over the last couple of years, since WWE just... If it's done once, it's probably been done a million times. Maybe I'm just not recalling it or having a bit of a mind blank. But if not, it would be a first-time ever match, obviously. And I think they could have good chemistry. Seth Rollins is a tremendous worker. Say what you want about him. And even at this point in his career, Rey Mysterio is probably in better shape than he has been the last 5 years. So he can certainly still go in the ring, and if it's a big-time match against a big-time superstar, Rey Mysterio can certainly step up to the plate and be as good once as he ever was. So I have no doubt that the match they do have is going to be something quite special. Is it going to be an all-time classic? Probably not. And those years of Mysterio are behind him. But is it going to be a good match? I'm pretty certain. And it'll be certainly a fun match and a fun feud going forward. But what do you think about this segment on Monday Night Raw? Is Rey Mysterio actually going to retire? Is he leaving WWE, or is this just a segment? Do you think Rey Mysterio will ultimately re-sign with WWE? Where do you think this Rey Mysterio-Seth Rollins feud is going, and what do you think will happen in the segment on Monday Night Raw? Let me know in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to WrestleNews 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right-hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be another subscribe button along with another video for you to watch, or you can just go to our channel with all of our videos there, and you can subscribe there also. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms on the screen right now. Twitter, that's at 365Wrestle. Facebook and Instagram, that's at WrestleNews365. If it's on social media, we are on it. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you've come across this video today, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.